Vegeta, let's do this! Fusion! Ha! Bring it!
Gunsmiths, unite! These are Prosperity, everybody's your favorite gunsmith, Lethal Hippie. I'm here with Mr.
Andrew Herrick,
the greatest gunsmiths in the tri-state area. Today we're going to have a brief interview of operational procedures and safety parameters. Parameters? What's a parameter?
I don't know what parameter. I came to.
Today we're going to have a brief interview of operational procedures and safety parameters that's mandatory in all gun stores. So, Mr. Andrew, what are your top 5 non-negotiable safety rules in your gun shop?
Our gun shop, we basically adhere to the top 4. Treat all firearms as if they're loaded. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Never point anything you don't intend to destroy, and know what's around your target and beyond. Besides that, another thing that we have customers bringing guns every day. We do ask that they're in a some kind of container, a safe, carry handle bag, whatever it is. We prefer that they set the gun down. We open whatever storage they have it in, and we inspect it before they touch the gun. So if they're saying, "Hey, my gun's jamming," before we let them touch the gun, we want to make sure it's clear. I would say there's been 20 or 30 times where customers bring in guns, they swear they're unloaded. We were going to keep a jar of ammo that pops out of the guns, but they're like, "Oh, it's fine, I unloaded it in the car, I took the magazine out." And we rack it back, pump it, whatever the case is, and a live round comes out. So it's definitely something we want to do to prevent any accidents happening in the store.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next question. Can you share an example of a safety incident you've witnessed or experienced?
Sure. Before we moved into this location, we were at a much smaller store. I had a customer came in, he said he was having problems with his gun. He said, "Yeah, I'm a CCW, I've been around guns for a long time." I said, "Do you happen to have the firearm with you?" And he, I don't know if instinctively or what, but he reached in, he grabbed his gun, he pointed it at me.
Oh, good God.
I grabbed the muzzle, just put it in a safe direction. He said my finger wasn't on the trigger. I said that's one of the top 4 rules that we talk about anytime we're introducing somebody to guns. Never point a gun at anything you don't intend to destroy. I did my best not to embarrass him, but I did want to make sure that he was very clear in understanding the procedures as far as, when you're in a gun store. Yeah, we have guns everywhere. We're very familiar with them. That being said, we want a procedural way of ensuring the safety of us, the customer, anybody around in the neighboring building. So it was kind of eye-opening. I wasn't expecting it, but after that we were a little bit more conscious about how we talk to customers. If we say, "Do you happen to have your firearm here with you?" Making sure that they're not reaching for anything. Accidents happen, so last thing we want is somebody to grab a gun, think they're doing something that we asked them to do, and cause some kind of incidents. That's a big one. That's one that sticks in my head. That was probably 5 or 6 years ago. That was kind of scary because it was loaded. We had one in the chamber. Magazine was full. He didn't think he was doing anything wrong, but it did kind of open my eyes, the rest of the employees, to see that what we say kind of dictates the customer's response.
And that brings me to a very critical point. Your firearm is an extension of you. Have total awareness of yourself and the equipment that you are handling to maintain pure safety for anyone that you are around and keep those people alive and well. Absolutely. What did those involved or yourself take away from that experience, and did that experience impact the operational safety habits practiced in the work environment?
Again, we did have that interaction with the customer, explain the reason why what he did was not the appropriate response into taking his firearm out. But in addition to that, the rest of the employees, we did kind of have a discussion after that as far as maintaining the safest way to let a customer bring out their firearm, whether it's go to their vehicle, unload it safely, take off their holster, hand it to us, and let us unload it. We also did start posting specific rules as far as if you want to bring a firearm in, make sure it's in a container, make sure that we're the first ones to handle it once it comes into the store.
Roger that. What safety mistakes do you see new gunsmiths make the most often?
I don't know if I'd call it a mistake. Kind of assuming that you know what you're doing. I've worked on I'd say 1,000 different types of guns, different makes, models, years, assuming that what worked for this particular instance is going to work every single time. We get firearms that are half disassembled because the customer assumes that they fix whatever the malfunction is or issue with the gun is, and then they bring it into us and they're half disassembled with sometimes with live ammo in it, which can be a very, very scary thing. So you can't just say, okay, it's just another gun, I'm going to just go through my rhythm. Sometimes it's, hey, let's everybody clear out, we're going to make sure we can unload this safely before we move on. I wouldn't really call it a mistake, but it's kind of assuming that you're further along than you are. I've been doing this for many, many, many years. I know my flaws and faults, and I'm very happy to ask other people here for input. I typically do all the work on guns, but there's people here that have specialties. So my ego is as low as I can possibly get it. If it starts to raise, I try to keep myself back down. I ask questions to people all the time. Hey, I'm supposed to be working on this gun. What's a good way to attack the problem with the customer?
How do you maintain a safe working environment when working with firearm customers?
We go over, we have a lot of brand new shooters, and it's not even just brand new shooters, it's people maybe that they were raised around guns, but they weren't trained correctly as far as safety procedures. We take that very, very serious. We start with the 4 rules as far as finger off the trigger, always make sure it's pointed in a safe direction. We want to make sure that that's something that they take home with them. It's kind of funny, we'll say, hey, when you're using Windex at home, you'll notice that your finger's indexed on the side of the Windex bottle just because you want that to be second nature. So you're trying to really instill, shooting can be a fun thing, it can be a relaxing thing, but if you're not doing it safely, then the rest of it doesn't matter. It's sad to say we've had so many customers that have had incidents in the past, and that really opens their eyes to gun safety because they kind of have an assumption in their head that it's not going to happen to them, where they've actually had catastrophic incidents. We try to use those anecdotal stories and kind of let people know, hey, this can happen to anybody. Like I said, I've been around guns for a long, long time. The same thing that happens to other customers could happen to me if I'm not taking my time, making sure I'm doing things methodically and as safe as possible.
If you follow the Lethal Hippie channel, we talk about catastrophics and safeties all the time. It's a parameter that you maintain anytime you have a firearm, any weapon, because you are the main controller of the situation. How did you get started as a gunsmith?
I was in law enforcement. I started 19 years ago in law enforcement. We had to shoot quite often. I had shot as a child, thought I knew a little bit about guns until I got into that field, realized there's leagues more that I had to learn. So I got into that. We do quarterly qualifications, annual qualifications. I became an armorer for the department I was in. So I worked on a few guns, just the ones that our department used, like Glocks, revolvers, Mini-14s, grenade launchers. So I was pretty comfortable with the few guns that we worked on, just with the guns that we had there. I ended up getting injured to the point where I couldn't work in law enforcement anymore, so I'm medically retired. While I was medically retired, I drove my wife crazy. I was home too much, and she's like, I gotta find a job to get out of the house. So I ended up meeting Tony. He's actually retiring this month, meeting him here.
What resources do you rely on most to stay current and improve your skills?
So, as odd as it sounds, I really don't do research on the guns that I don't plan on working on. Doing this for as long as I have, there's definitely guns that you'll see on a regular basis and guns that you could sit and study in a book and you'll never see your entire life. So instead of trying to be current on every gun, I kind of take it step by step. Customers will bring in a gun and say, hey, my gun's not working correctly, I'd like to customize it, whatever the case is. Before I really dive into that, I do focused research on that firearm, specifically like the safety features, obviously the disassembly, familiarize myself with the parts before I even get into demolishing the product. I don't want to, get myself into a situation that I'm not comfortable getting out of. It's rare, but it happens to the point in certain guns where a customer will say, hey, this gun's 120, 140 years old. It's not working correctly. It looks like it was buried in their backyard for decades. It's not fun to do, but there are times when I say, you know what, I know my limits. This might be something that I'm not comfortable working on. My goal, and it's kind of a goofy goal, my goal is to take firearms that would otherwise be junked, never shot again. They'll send them to a company and they part them out. Taking that and making it functional again. We do get a lot of people that have heirloom guns that have passed down generation to generation, and they want to be able to shoot that gun and kind of relive their grandfather's, shooting legacy. So I want to make sure that when I'm doing that, I'm not taking something that could otherwise be destroyed or damaged beyond repair, and make sure that I'm comfortable doing it before I get into, like I said, taking the gun apart, fixing, repairing anything, making sure that there's a part that are in the gun or malfunctioning or worn beyond repair, that those replacement parts are attainable. Taking a gun apart, not being able to fix it because the parts aren't available, or I can't modify parts to work in there. It's just extra work. And I don't like to disassemble anything, especially something that has value to somebody else, unless I'm sure it's something I'm comfortable with.
3 more questions for you. What are the most important skills for a new gunsmith to develop?
I don't know if you call it skills of being humble.
Be humble. Bitch. Sit down. Be humble.
It's very easy to get yourself into a situation where you're not comfortable getting yourself out of. So making sure that you keep yourself as humble as possible and asking questions of other experts. You might call on the phone and say, hey, I saw that you work on this particular firearm. Do you have any tips for me?
You want to pay today?
It's not easy to do, person to person, gun to gun. You want to make sure it's something that you're going to be comfortable working on, and you're going to ask for help anytime you do that. Another thing is safety. The most important thing is being safe, whatever you're doing. Not getting into that rhythm of, okay, it's just another gun, let me just get to work. Making sure that you're doing everything as safe as possible. I mean, as far as like skills go, just keeping up that when you're getting ready to work on a gun you're not familiar with, being as familiar as you can be by doing research on the gun before you get yourself beyond what you should have.
If you were hiring an entry-level gunsmith tomorrow, what would you look for?
Same thing. Somebody that's willing to learn, willing to ask questions. We don't hire a whole lot here. It's kind of the same with customers. You have customers that will come in and you can kind of tell, hey, I'm an expert on guns. They'll say, hey, I know everything about guns, and you hand them a gun. First thing they do is put their finger on the trigger. We do have customers that come in and say, hey, I've got a couple guns. I'm far from an expert. Can you tell me about this particular gun? That customer, not saying that they're applying for a job, but the trait's kind of the same, where they're saying, hey, give me as much information as you can so that they can be safe and understand, not assume that they know everything. It's a skill you can learn. There's definitely people that have an easier time just the way their brain's wired. I've always been kind of a tinkerer, so understanding mechanical parts and how parts work together, that's definitely handy, but it's all learnable, teachable. So being teachable is the biggest thing. If you already have it in your head that you know what you're doing, that's kind of a red flag for me. I've been doing this a long time, and I don't want to assume that I know anything unless it's something I've done several times over and over. So if you're teachable and you're willing to admit that you don't know everything about everything, then that's the first thing that I would look for in a new gunsmith.
Gotta maintain discipline.
Last question. A silverback gorilla, a rhino, and a bear all coming at you at the same time. Which firearm would you like to have on your side?
Depends on the distance. Believe it or not, a Glock 20, 10 millimeter.
Okay.
Really? Plenty of penetration, high capacity. If it was just one, I would say probably a 45-70 lever action.
Okay.
But you're not going to be able to hit all 3 targets and put them down fast.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That concludes our interview, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Andrew Herrick, a handshake.
I appreciate you.
Gunsmiths unite.